What do microservices actually do? So microservices definition became a sort of posh term lately, and even if some people like say, yeah, I read about this, I do understand what they are, but I still deep down I don't understand why we need them. This is a very common question from you guys, because sometimes, even if we understand the concept, obviously, if you're following my channel, this means that you're either preparing for tech certifications or you're into tech and you need to have some understanding of different definitions in tech. But deep down, we don't really understand why microservices became such a big thing lately. And that's why I decided to put together this video and define this better for you. So to start with, it's impossible to talk about microservices without talking about monolithic applications or monolith. So monolith, as the name suggests, it's a big stone, or the big single building. I put together some sketches for you, and I was really on the verge of my drawing skill when I was putting them together, so that it's easier for you to understand. When we are talking about monolith applications, it means that we're talking about a single application that is written in the same code. But in order to be more clear about this, let's focus on the example of Facebook. So imagine that this is Facebook, and obviously Facebook has different teams working on its different functions. The functions can be really different. This is just a sketch off the top of my head, and it can be user accounts, Facebook pages or Facebook groups, and because there are many Facebook groups that people find really useful to do different, to share information, to find the information they're looking for, and etc, etc. Facebook ads that companies use to promote their products, their websites, etc. Facebook Marketplace, where people sell secondhand stuff and buy secondhand stuff, and Facebook Messenger. Obviously, these are very different functions of Facebook. For example, Facebook Messenger, before it was inside the Facebook, now it's a different application, so it's that different to become a different application. And when we're talking about monolith applications, this is the type of applications that incorporates all of these functions in a single program. So imagine that you learned how to code, and you can code in Python. You sit and you put together an application in a single code. An application, for example, for computer science students, so that's what I would do for my software, advanced programming class actually. And you put together an application that is in a single code and does everything, has the menu, has the user interface, but it's all a simple code, the simple one code, and it's all depends on one thing. And also it's all the single point of failure. This is one thing, that is all a single point of failure if it's a monolith application. And the second thing, as I said, the code can get very complex. So imagine what the code for Facebook application would look like that would incorporate all of these apps. So if you change something in Messenger, how things are done, for example, in Messenger, they would before rely on user name and surname, but now they rely on individual user IDs. So if they change something in one portion of the code, they have to sort of do a surgery and change the code throughout the whole application, which is a big pain. And imagine that if several teams working together on this one application, they're sort of dependent on this, because John is waiting for something that Alex should finish. Jake is waiting for something that Sebastian should finish. Sebastian is waiting on something else. And this becomes a big pain, loss of man hours, because people are just either waiting or doing something that they shouldn't do, and loss of man hours in terms of that these surgeries. If one thing changes in the code should be reviewed all together in order to understand what was changed. That's why monolith applications is sort of the old way of looking at things, and it's no longer popular for application development and the application deployment overall. The thing that came as a replacement for monolith eventually, because in the middle terms there was obviously the time when applications were switching, but at the moment we have the microservice architecture, and microservice architecture looks like this. So as you may see, I really hope you see it. We still got Facebook, and we still got these functionalities of Facebook. For example, users, groups or pages, marketplace, and ads. But now each team is more independent, and it's not dependent on each other. For example, users team using Python to write for the software engineering and etc. Groups team is using C++. I really don't know, I'm just saying this off the top of my head, I mean the programming languages. The marketplace team and ads use different programming languages. So these 4 teams are not dependent on each other. They're all using different technologies for their components, and under components I mean these functionalities. And for example, if users are using on-premises like infrastructure for their team, groups can use virtualization, marketplace can use containers, and ads can use public cloud. I have several videos about containerization technology related to Docker, so don't forget to watch these videos. And these 4 teams are not dependent on each other. But you might ask, when I go to Facebook, I can see all these different technologies sort of presenting a single application. How does that work? And this works through APIs. There are API calls. It's sort of the programming calls that connect all of these components together. It's like the users team is calling through telephone to groups team, please groups, can you provide this, can you do this? And ads is calling to groups through API calls and saying, can we do this, can we do that? And that's how these microservices are communicating with each other. There are several different advantages to this architecture. First of all, they're not dependent on each other. So if we've got ads not working at the moment, this doesn't mean that these 3 functions will not be working as well. So they're less dependent on each other. The teams can use different programming languages. For example, all of the Facebook's software engineers don't have to use the same programming languages, and this gives them more opportunities for better recruitment, so they can recruit people who are really good in Python, and so that they will be working in marketplace. Or obviously they can recruit people who are very good in Java, and these recruits will be working in ads team. But there are also disadvantages to this as well. Microservices, as name suggests, comes with micromanagement. You have to have better overview of what your services are doing and how they're performing. When there is availability issues, when there is downtime, it will take you a bit more time to understand if everything is highly available. You will have to have better admin team to be able to manage all these services and to be able to be on top of what's going on. If you remember, like 2 years ago, there was a time when there was a downtime on WhatsApp and Facebook. It had nothing to do with microservices, it was a DNS issue, but if there is something not right with one of the services, the admin people should be on top to understand which of the teams is not doing well. The last thing is that the teams are organized not by technological functions, but rather by business functions. So that's where the business and technology come together to accommodate each other's needs. From the standpoint of business, there are several teams doing several different business functions, ads, users, messenger, and etc. And from the standpoint of technology, there are several teams that are not dependent on each other, so they can be considered as a small unit that's working together with others. For example, it's like our organs. Our heart is pumping blood, our stomach is digesting the food that's coming in, and our lungs are sort of getting in the oxygen out. So they're doing everything they can in their own way, and they're sort of independent, but they still depend on each other by doing calls to each other, by communicating each other by different calls. Obviously, it's a very high level overview how human body operates. But I hope I was able to give you a higher level overview of what microservices and monolith applications do and what is their difference. Because oftentimes I can see that people say like, yeah, I understand what microservices is, especially you guys sent me a lot of emails related to that. But then I don't understand, yeah, I understand what it is. I read it on Google, I read the concept, but I still don't understand what it is, if you know what I mean. So I know microservices is the smaller applications that run the application, smaller applications that one big application is divided to. But why? Why not monolith? Because it looks better. And they don't understand the sort of the business point of that. But this is, as I said, how business needs and technological needs of the company meet each other and create more convenient environment to operate. And of course, microservices wouldn't be possible without cloud technology, without containerization, without orchestration that is now possible. The development of the technology, the way that we now have Docker, the fact that we now have Kubernetes, the fact that we have Terraform made the microservices architecture possible. So obviously microservices also is a result of technological advancements that humanity is having at the moment. Please let me know in the comment section down below if you really understand what microservices is, and if you're maybe working with microservices, and what do you think about Docker, Kubernetes or Terraform. I will be looking forward to your replies, and have a nice day. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that like button for this video. Have a nice day and bye!